Why does a 5-year-old learn more in 1 year than you learn in 10? They lack discipline, they lack focus, they lack a study plan, but they absorb everything like a sponge.
You've tried to learn something new. A language, a skill, a side hustle. You watched the videos, you bought the course, you told yourself, this time will be different. And then you quit. Not in week 1, but by week 3, when progress felt invisible and you started thinking the same thought you always think. I'm not good at this. I don't have the talent. Other people can do it, but I can't. I believed that for years. Here's what nobody tells you. Your brain isn't broken. You just don't know how to use it anymore. Here's what changes everything. You lost the beginner's mind, the mindset that makes learning effortless. But to understand how to get it back, you need to see what happened to Jake. Jake was 32, worked in a warehouse in Ohio. Same job for 9 years, forklift operator, $18 an hour, paycheck to paycheck. He watched people his age get promoted, move into management, start businesses. And he thought, how did they do it? Are they smarter than me? Jake had tried to learn. He'd taken online courses, watched YouTube tutorials, started projects, but nothing stuck. He tried everything, like I did. Every time he started something new, a voice in his head screamed louder, "You're 32, you barely finished high school, you're not smart enough for this." And he believed it, because society hammered it into his head. You learn when you're young. After 30, your brain is set. It's too late. That's what Jake heard for years. So Jake lived on autopilot. Home, work, work, home. Weekends spent recovering from exhaustion that never went away. Bills paid at the last minute with nothing left over. No growth, no prospects, just survival. Until the day his daughter asked a question that broke him. She was 7. They were at the dinner table. She said, "Daddy, what do you want to be when you grow up?" His wife Sarah laughed. "Honey, Daddy's already grown up." But his daughter looked confused. "But you always say I can be anything I want, can't you?" Jake couldn't answer, because the truth was too painful. He had stopped believing he could become anything. He had accepted that this was it. This was his ceiling. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. His daughter's question played on repeat. "Can't you be anything you want, Daddy?" And something cracked open inside him. Not motivation, not excitement, just a quiet decision. I refuse to be the man who teaches his daughter that dreams have expiration dates. Jake started searching, not for courses, for understanding. Why do kids learn so fast? Why do adults struggle? And that's when he found a concept that Japanese Zen masters discovered 800 years ago. Shoshin, the beginner's mind. Here's what it means. A child learning Spanish doesn't think, "I'm bad at languages." They just try, make mistakes, try again, make mistakes, try again. Their mind is completely open. An adult enters the same class already defeated. "I tried this before and failed. I'm not good at languages. This is a waste of time." They arrive with their mind closed, and a closed mind cannot learn. This sounds simple. Took me forever to actually apply. Here's the difference. Beginner's mind says, "I don't know yet. I'm curious. I'll experiment." Closed mind says, "I already know I can't do this. I'll prove myself right." Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck studied this for 30 years. She found that belief in your ability to learn matters more than age, IQ, or background. 60-year-olds who believed they could learn new skills learned faster than 25-year-olds who thought they didn't have the talent. Your brain maintains neuroplasticity your entire life. It can form new connections, learn new patterns, master new skills. But only if you approach learning with Shoshin, humility, curiosity, acceptance of mistakes, without ego, without fear of looking stupid. Jake realized something devastating. He had never really tried to learn anything. He consumed information, but he didn't learn. Because every time he started, he already believed it wouldn't work for him. He didn't have beginner's mind, he had loser's mind. So Jake made a decision. He was going to relearn how to learn. He chose 3 skills: basic, small, achievable. First, physical strength. He couldn't lift his daughter without his back hurting. He found a free bodyweight training program online, beginner level, for people who knew nothing. And he followed it exactly. No modifications, no shortcuts. 3 times a week, 30 minutes. Pure Shoshin, beginner's mind, no ego. Second, money management. He had no idea where his paycheck went every month. He found a basic budgeting book written for teenagers, and he applied it word for word, tracked every dollar, cut what the book said to cut, no bargaining with himself. Third, learning to code. He heard software developers made good money. He started with a free beginner course designed for people with 0 experience, and he studied 1 hour before work every single day. The first month was the hardest of his life because nothing changed. Physically, he saw no difference. Financially, still broke. Coding, still confused. But he kept going.
Week 6. Jake was doing his morning workout, same routine he'd been doing for 6 weeks. And suddenly, he realized he was doing 20 push-ups without stopping. When he started, he could barely do 5. He hadn't noticed the progress because it was invisible, 1% per day. But looking back, it was undeniable. Week 9. He looked at his budget spreadsheet. For the first time in years, there was money left at the end of the month. Not much, $47, but it was there. Week 12. He finished his first coding project, a simple calculator app. It wasn't impressive, but it worked. And for the first time since he was 7 years old, Jake felt what learning actually feels like. Not instant mastery, gradual competence. 6 months later, Jake applied for an entry-level coding job. He got it, $55,000 a year, more than double the warehouse. A year later, he was promoted, not because he was the smartest developer, but because he never stopped learning. He maintained Shoshin, beginner's mind. While other developers thought they knew everything, Jake still asked questions. While they stopped growing, Jake kept improving. 1% per day. Invisible, becoming unstoppable. What's one skill you've always wanted to learn but thought you couldn't? Drop it in the comments. But here's what happens if you don't do this. You stay exactly where you are, not because you lack ability, because you lack belief. The people who never develop beginner's mind spend their lives thinking, I could have done that. I could have learned that skill. I could have changed careers. I could have become someone different. But they never did, because they decided too early that they couldn't, and that decision became their prison. Jake's warehouse supervisor is still there. Same job, same complaints, same paycheck. 10 years older, 0 growth. He watches Jake now from the outside, and he thinks, Jake got lucky. He's naturally smart. I could never do that. But Jake wasn't lucky, and he's not naturally smart. He just killed his ego and was reborn as a learner. So here's what you do. Choose one skill, something small, something you've always wanted to learn. Don't choose 5, choose 1. Find the most basic beginner's course or program you can find, and follow it exactly. No modifications, no I know better. Pure Shoshin, beginner's mind. Practice 30 minutes a day, or 1 hour 3 times a week. Don't expect to feel progress. Expect to trust the process. Improvement is invisible at 1% per day, but in 90 days, you look back and realize you've become someone different. Not because you found a shortcut, because you killed the certainty that you couldn't. If you've ever thought, I'm too old to learn something new, this channel is for you. One powerful idea per video, no theory, just what works. If that's what you need, subscribe. More coming this week. Remember, a closed mind knows everything. A beginner's mind learns everything. Which one are you choosing today?